Beverly Hills, California. March 8, 2026. One of the safest zip codes in the world. And someone just brought a war to Rihanna's front gate. 10 shots fired, a white Tesla, a family inside, 3 young children, and the woman who built a billion-dollar empire. Steps away from a live round. The official story. Just a disturbed fan, random, isolated, nothing to see here. But the moment people started pulling the thread, nothing about this story stayed simple.
Well, I was just washing dishes in my house and I heard shots. And I was a little shocked. You know, we don't hear that kind of thing in this neighborhood. It's pretty quiet.
That neighbor had no idea yet. The woman who had just been shot at was one of the most powerful humans in the music industry. Here is exactly what happened. Sunday, 1:20 in the afternoon. A white Tesla slows to a stop outside the iron gates of Rihanna's multi-million-dollar mansion in Beverly Hills. In this neighborhood, a luxury car means nothing. Nobody flinches. And then the driver opens fire. Not one shot, not 2. At least 10 rounds fired directly at the gate.
Western unit, shooting just occurred for white Tesla, as northbound on Coldwater. 10 gunshots fired from the vehicle at the gate.
Here is the detail that made every parent who heard this story go cold. Rihanna and A$AP Rocky were not somewhere else in the mansion. They were inside an Airstream trailer parked just inside the property gate, directly in the line of fire. Their 3 children were inside the main house along with Rihanna's mother and 2 staff members.
On March 8th at approximately 1:20 p.m., Ms. Ortiz is accused of driving up to the residence of Rihanna, at which point she fires from her semi-automatic weapon multiple times at the residence. In that residence, Rihanna was there with her partner, her 3 children, her mother, and 2 staff people.
Within hours, police had a name: Ivana Ortiz, 35 years old. Not from California, from Orlando, Florida, nearly 3,000 miles away. She didn't just drive across town. According to investigators, she drove her Tesla across the entire country, state by state, with one destination: Rihanna's home address.
Been booked with attempted murder. Police have identified her as 35-year-old Ivana Ortiz. It looks like she's originally from Florida, and police say she's shot at least 7 times towards Rihanna's home here in the Beverly Crest neighborhood. It looks like a few bullets actually hit this white gate, and there's now tape over those bullet holes.
A Baker Act detainee in 2023. That's Florida's law that allows authorities to force someone into psychiatric evaluation if they're considered a danger. 3 arrests for domestic violence, an attempt to legally block a Billie Eilish concert. This was not someone who had no history. This was a person with a long, documented trail of escalating behavior, and nobody stopped her before she reached Beverly Hills. Now, there's one question that people online immediately started asking. If this was just a random, unstable person with no money, where did the Tesla come from? Where did the AR-15 come from? Neither of those are cheap. Before she drove across the country, Ortiz wasn't hiding her obsession. She was broadcasting it on YouTube, on Facebook, for months, with Rihanna's name front and center. This is what she posted 2 months before the shooting.
Listen, Rihanna, when you die, God is taking me to my future. You want to kill me. Shut the f*** up.
That video
okay?
was public, available for anyone to see, including law enforcement, weeks before the shooting happened.
Because her faith is the devil. Rihanna's faith is the devil.
To you too.
Okay? I don't like her, and she's always trying to steal from me. And she has not ever put out any music to reach people.
In Ortiz's mind, this wasn't a crime. Rihanna was the villain. The shooting was, in her logic, defense. That's what makes cases like this so dangerous. The threat doesn't see itself as a threat. On March 25th, Ivana Ortiz appeared in a downtown Los Angeles courtroom. The judge banned cameras from showing her face. She did not enter a
plea. At which point we intend to convict Ms. Ortiz of all the charges which have been leveled at this point beyond a reasonable doubt to either
Now, here's where something happened that most major outlets quietly ignored. Initial reports confirmed bail was set at $10.2 million. That is an extraordinary number, reserved for suspects courts consider the most serious public threats.
Rihanna is fleeing LA after the terrifying shooting at her Beverly Hills mansion.
Shooting just occurred. Approximately
Her
10 shots
family.
heard.
Police booked Ivana Ortiz for attempted murder after they say she drove up in her white Tesla to Rihanna's house on Sunday afternoon and opened fire with an assault rifle. The bullets pierced Rihanna's gate, an RV parked in her driveway.
But then, overnight, court documents quietly updated the bail to $1.875 million, a reduction of more than $8 million. No press conference, no explanation, no statement from the DA. People tracking the case online caught it almost immediately. What changed between Tuesday night and Wednesday morning? Nobody has answered that question publicly. Within hours of this story breaking, one name started trending that had nothing to do with Rihanna, nothing to do with Beverly Hills, and everything to do with how the music industry really works. Katt Williams.
Business, nothing is coincidental, or you would be hearing who's losing money. In all of these situations, it's only the artist that's losing. Somebody makes big money. When these rappers get killed, not incidental. Somebody made $100 million and now don't have to talk to that artist or none of their crew, don't have to validate none of their contracts. Now only got to deal with the mama, only got to see her once a year, and it's over. And the money goes up and up and up.
Katt Williams has argued for years that in the entertainment business, when an artist disappears, someone else profits. Contracts dissolve, insurance pays out, royalties restructure, the machine keeps moving. Now, does that mean this shooting was a conspiracy? Law enforcement says no. There is currently no evidence of a larger plot. Ortiz appears to have acted alone, but the questions people are now asking aren't about Ortiz. They're about the structure around Rihanna, because of who manages her and who that management company is connected to. Rihanna is managed by Roc Nation, the entertainment company built by Jay-Z. Roc Nation operates under Live Nation. And in 2024, the United States Department of Justice sued Live Nation for antitrust violations, arguing the company holds an illegal monopoly over the entire concert industry. That case is still ongoing. Here is the detail that sent the internet into overdrive. Public records show that Ivana Ortiz, the woman who drove 3,000 miles and shot up Rihanna's gate, has an active legal dispute involving Live Nation, the same corporation tied to Rihanna's touring infrastructure. Investigators say the connection is likely coincidental, but the fact that it exists at all, in the same case, in the same week, is the kind of detail that once you know it, you cannot unknow it. March 8, 2026 was not the first time Rihanna's home became a crime scene. In May 2018, a man named Leon Nightingale managed to completely disable her Hollywood Hills mansion alarm and spent 12 hours inside her home while she was away, walking through her bedroom, touching her belongings, waiting. When police arrived, he was calmly sitting in her living room, charging his phone. He told investigators he broke in to wait for Rihanna to return and carry out a plan that cannot be repeated here. And then there's 2009. The night before the Grammy Awards, Rihanna was hospitalized after being beaten inside a car by her then-boyfriend Chris Brown. The leaked crime scene photos went around the world. The public saw, for perhaps the first time, that fame provides no protection from the people closest to you. Chris Brown pled guilty. 5 years probation, 3 separate incidents across 17 years. A stalker inside the house, domestic violence, and now a rifle at the front gate. At some point, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. To understand why Rihanna keeps ending up in stories like this, you have to understand what she has become. She is not simply a singer, she is a self-made billionaire. Fenty Beauty, launched with LVMH in 2017, generated over $550 million in revenue in its first year. The brand reached a valuation of more than $2.8 billion. Rihanna owns approximately half. Savage x Fenty, her lingerie brand, hit a $1 billion valuation by 2021. She owns roughly 30%. Forbes estimated her total net worth at over $1.4 billion, making her the wealthiest female music artist in the world. When you build something that large, you don't just attract fans, you collect enemies you've never even met. People who profit from your silence, people who lose when you keep rising. Here is where we land. Rihanna is alive. Her children are safe. Ivana Ortiz is behind bars facing attempted murder charges. Investigators say this was an isolated act, but isolated doesn't mean simple. A woman with a documented psychiatric history and multiple violence arrests somehow acquired an AR-15, a Tesla, and Rihanna's home address, then drove coast to coast without being stopped. Her videos were public. Her threats were public. Nobody flagged it. Nobody acted. And she made it all the way to the gate.
In business, nothing is coincidental, or you would be hearing who's losing money. In all of these situations, it's only the artist that's losing. Somebody makes big money. When these rappers get killed, not incidental. Somebody made $100 million and now don't have to talk to that artist or none of their crew, don't have to validate none of their contracts. Now only got to deal with the mama, only got to see her once a year, and it's over. And the money goes up and up and up. So they killed this $20 million guy, but they reaped $60 million in benefits.
Wow.
And
At what point does a warning sign become too loud to ignore? That's not just a question for law enforcement. That's a question for all of us. If you're following this case, subscribe. Because between the bail reduction, the Live Nation connection, and the investigation still ongoing, this story is far from over.